So I think it goes without saying that doing art is like makes our hearts so happy, you know? Like we feel that in here. I think that's pretty universal, at least for those of us that are, have that little creative bug. But what I was interested in learning more about was actually what happens to your brain when you do art. Because I know I hear things like, ooh, it's good, and like flow is awesome, but like, what's happening with your brain? So I thought this was super interesting. It actually changes when you're in the throes of creation and in flow. It actually changes your brain chemistry. I think this is so fascinating. It increases dopamine. I'm sure you've heard of dopamine before. It's a chemical that releases when you experience something pleasurable, like getting lost in your flow state and making something cool. And having high levels of dopamine can actually help ease anxiety and stress. I said stretch and stress, but all mashed together. Stress. Okay, so that's like, that alone is so satisfying to learn, right? Like that's why it makes us feel good. Number 2, it also reduces cortisol, which is another brain thingamajig that gets triggered when we have anxiety. So the good chemicals go up and the bad chemicals go down, all just by making a pretty picture. That's insane and super cool. What else does it do? So it activates reward pathways. So art can activate reward pathways in the brain, which can improve mood and lower anxiety. That's 3 references to increasing your mood and decreasing anxiety. Sign me up. It can provide a distraction. Yes, absolutely. Creating art can take your mind off of everyday life. Amen to that. I started doing art because I was trying to avoid my laundry pile, and it did a really good job of that for a really long time. This is fascinating, actually. This is more with our overall health and not even just our mind, but our whole body's health. It can actually boost your immune system. That's just bananas, really. That's really cool. I didn't know about that one. What else? It can improve, it helps with self-awareness. I think this is super true too. Art can help people manage intense emotions and foster self-awareness, right? Because you're like kind of quieting yourself so that you can be a little bit more introspective and have a little brain space to think about something other than like, what am I doing? What am I doing? What do I have to do today? Blah, 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 right? It's like a quieting so that you can have a little bit of space in your head for introspection. Agreed. Helping with self-esteem. I love this. Art can help people increase their sense of value and self-esteem. I think that for me, that comes in the process of like making something out of nothing. I find that infinitely fascinating. And I always do. I feel like accomplished. Like I just made something that wasn't there an hour ago and now I have something. So I definitely think that that is true. It can also help with community. Maggie, I'll be right with you. I know, she just let herself in. She has the opposable thumbs. She just lets herself in when she's outside. She just came in from outside. Helping with community. Art can create a feeling of community, which can help with loneliness and isolation. Now, that is absolutely true when it comes to Awesome Art School. I have members who have found each other because of the clubs at Awesome Art School, and now they are like best friends. Ellen and Linda, I know you're just one of many, 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 many examples, but you're the first one that jumps to my mind. So yes, I think that is true. In summation, art therapy, now that's like an actual discipline you can like go to college for, and learn and be a practicer of, you know what I mean? But what's cool is that you don't need to go to college to do that. You can practice it every single day from the comfort of your own couch. How cool is that? And this is how awesome this is. It is a therapeutic approach that can include a wide range of creative expressions like drawing, painting, coloring, and whatever. And when you combine it with talk therapy, which we're not really doing here, but I do believe that connecting with others that are going through the same lessons and projects and experiences can definitely help us all to manage our emotions, foster self-awareness, friendships, decrease stress, and anxiety. So Now we all know, we already kind of felt it, that art is super important, but now there's some kind of really cool, like hard scientific facts that prove that doing art is important. Now we need to focus on making time for it in our lives. And this, I think, for most of us, is actually the hardest thing to do. So in this video, I want to talk about a couple of tricks in ways that I use to help me carve out, fight for in, elbow in my creative time. So my job now depends on having time enough in my schedule to create all these lessons and projects. Okay, but I have to fight for that. I'm a mom. I've had 3 kids. I've had 4 pets at some points, down to 3, thank God. And it's really hard, right? My husband works, he's the breadwinner. So that means my career and my job takes a second place to his. So that means I'm the caretaker for the kids. Most of the meals, come to me. Most of the laundry, now my kids do, thank God. But I really have to fight for my time. So I thought I would share some of the tricks that I use, and maybe some of these will help you kind of figure out how to help to get art into your daily life. And then I'm also going to share with you the different, the different resources that I've created and put within the club for you to access and use to help you make room for the art in your life so we can reap the benefits of all this art we're making each and every day. Okay? I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you what's inside the membership for you right now. And then I'll share some kind of like paper versions of things that can also help you in case you need help organizing. I'm very much a pen and paper person. So the lesson tracker is my favorite, but I also use a lot of whiteboards and other things, but there's also online documents that can help you as well. Let me show you. So the first thing that I did to help students get to their happy place is just make a couple of quick PDFs that will help you figure out quickly where everything is. Because if you can't find the lessons, you're not going to be able to do them, right? So first of all, these are the resources, and I'm right below the video you're watching now. So this is the new members classroom, and we are in the last section, why art is important for heart, mind, and soul, and how to make room for it in your life. So I have downloaded these for you, and I've uploaded them for you, and you can download them on your computer. So the first one is just the Art Club daily lesson plan. And I love this because it's beautiful and it's in color, and it just helps you focus on one day at a time. What is the date? What is the day? What club are you working in? Then you can fill out these fields: classroom, lesson, taught by, number of videos in each lesson. And then you can mark them off as you go. So to download this, you just need to go to the top and click on where are the little paper clips? Oh no. Oh no. Okay, all set. My settings are off. So if you scroll underneath these, you see the paper clip that says Art Club Lesson Plan. You click that paper clip and then this will download and you can print that off. Okay, and then this one is the club navigation notes. And what's nice about this is that there are really 3 ways to get to the Fun Fab Drawing Club, or any of the clubs really. And this video can kind of help with all of these, because all of these are going to be held in all of the new member classrooms for all of the clubs. So the navigation notes then will be specific to your club. This example I'm using is just for the Fun Fab Drawing Club, but this exact sheet is in there for all the clubs and will help you to navigate towards them. And it tells you the 3 different ways you can log in, which is nice because you might not realize that there's other ways to log in, and you might discover a way that you like better than the other 2 ways. And this way you can kind of keep track of which way you got there. And then again, you can say like the next classroom I'm going to do, and then the next lesson I'm going to do is what, and then which way, how am I going to plan to get there again? So it helps you keep track of how you're moving around. Wonder Bundlers, you get, instead of 2 pages for club, you actually get 90 pages, and they're all color. So you have about 30 per club. because you have way more to keep track of than the individual club members. If there's an individual club member and you want to become a Wonder Bundler, just reach out and we can make that happen for you. So these are just kind of nice. Now I will segue to talking about the lesson tracker, because this is the book format variation of this right here, which is the daily lesson note page. So let me show you what the tracker looks like. So this is the lesson tracker, and depending on which level of membership you purchased, you might just get yourself a free copy actually. So what I created this for was really, I know date and time seem super self-explanatory. However, I have to say, for example, myself, I am really creative. I'm like at my creative best in the morning, like super early in the morning, like right after breakfast. And at nighttime, even though I have more time at night, I'm not in any sort of creative space to do it. Isn't that so weird? And the reason I'm even mentioning that is that because of my job and the fact that which is to make lessons for you, and the fact that I have a family and kids and people to take care of in my life, I really need to be always at my most flexible. And I kind of squeeze in things when I can. And sometimes that's at night. And you know what? I can't do it. It's my project. My attitude is sucky because I'm tired. I tend to get weighed down by the fact that there's other people at home with me. And kind of a lot of other factors. So what I discovered over the years was, rather than fighting it, I accept it and I use it to my advantage. So rather than, it's really easy to like berate yourself and be like, oh, you have time now. Like, why don't you want to do your art? And it's really easy to kind of fall into that trap. And I really want to encourage you to pay attention to those little naggies. And if you are just not in the mood, or you're super stressed and you can't focus, and you start being hard on yourself for not wanting to be creative, that is the best time to walk away and don't worry about it. Come back and try coming back at a different time of day. Because sometimes, and I know this is super true for me, that's just a matter of what it is. And you might be totally surprised. And try 8 in the morning, try 10, try 12, try 2, try 4, try 6 times 8, depending on your work schedule or who you're caretaking for or what rhythm you have in your day. Try different times and try to stay in tune with what your inner voice is saying to you about that time of day. Same thing for day of the week. And so the reason I have this up here is I want you to fill these in. And then see if you can pay attention as you're going by and doing the lessons and marking these off and filling these in. And this little book is $10 on Amazon. Pay attention to this up here, okay? And you can also, there's a little journal spot here so you can kind of reflect for a minute before you dive in. Like, what is bothering me? I know, because actually as I'm filming this, actually quite a few things are bothering me. I probably need a whole nother scrappy piece of paper. So I might do that and actually stick it inside, like write it on a Post-it note and attach it. I actually have a lot to say about this today. And then once you kind of digest that, you can move on to kind of thinking about what kind of art you're in the mood for. And again, this is sort of like a reflective piece before you even do anything. Like, what are you in the mood for? If I'm like really angsty or something, collage is awesome for me because it's thoughtless. I can be messy. I'm just kind of doing things. It doesn't, take up any brain space. And I tend to feel less stressed out afterwards. And again, this is why this emotion part of it, I know it looks silly and stupid, but it's actually the most important part. Because what I want you to do is, after you're done picking what you're in the mood for, and this helps you kind of focus in on that, identify which club you're working in. You might only be in one club, but there's a lot of Wonder Bundlers out there. So this is good for you to keep track of where this lesson is coming from. And then you can make a note of the classroom name, the lesson name, who is teaching. your favorite supplies, because you might want to go back and revisit something similar to that. And then your video tracker is super nice, because if you get interrupted, say on like the third video and there's 10 videos, you can be like, oh, that's right, I was going to come up here and jump back on 4. So I actually like to write in the numbers, and then I cross them off as I go. And then this is the super part, which is the mood after you're finished. How do you feel afterwards? And again, like, this kind of part always kind of blows my mind, because I always feel so like elated and like almost like I'm out of breath, like I've just run a marathon. So I probably would choose other, and then kind of write about my feelings afterwards, and also my feelings about the piece. But sometimes it has nothing to do with my piece at all, and it's just generally about like what happened that day. And then I usually have this kind of transformation between before and after. It's super interesting. So make note of that. And then as you kind of progress through the lessons and do a few, see if there's any correlation with the time you're feeling and you're feeling afterwards. Okay. I bet you'd be really, really surprised. But my hope is that this little guide, and there's a little bit of an inspirational tidbit in the front for you as a reminder of your priorities. Fun is first. Okay. And that will help you to stay on track, but also make room in your life. And then before we go, I do have some other suggestions for you. So those were some ideas of how to track your lessons on a daily basis. But what about weekly or monthly? Well, like I said earlier, I'm really a pen and a paper person, so I need to have it written down somewhere. So first thing I do is I print out usually the Wonder Bundle calendar, because it has, because I'm in charge of everything, I need to know what I'm doing all the time. So this gives me my overview. And then I actually usually tape the calendars right on my wall, so I always have the daily, weekly, and monthly planned kind of all the time in front of me. So as things come up and change, I can write them here, and then I update my calendars. But I also because I have so many responsibilities, I also have this weirdly large collection of whiteboards. I have maybe 4 behind me, and I literally just bought this. But this is one that has, again, it's my monthly, has my priorities. I got this at Michael's, where I can have notes. But I really need to fight each and every day for the time and the space for me to get creative, because my heart depends on it, my mind depends on it, and my job depends on it. So it's really important that I fight to get that time in. And my kids, for example, just went back to school today. So I'm, I just paid for my son to take the PSATs. I just dropped one off at marching band. I have one that's coming home. Like, it's madness. So I have to schedule that shinizzle in to make sure that it happens. So I highly recommend you doing the same, because if we don't prioritize our art, no one else is going to. Do you think my husband's going to care if I have a painting to do? By the way, I'm doing a 12-foot painting right now for the marching band. Do you think they care that I have a job where I want to be creating lessons? No. Okay? So this is what I mean. You deserve the time to be creative for you, for your heart, mind, body, soul, all of it. You deserve it. You've been taking care of others. If you're like me, your whole life, now it's your time, my friend. So schedule it in. Get it on your monthly calendar, get it on your weekly calendar, and use the lesson tracker or the materials provided in your class to get it down to the day and the time of day that works for you. And let's get going on our art, because we, my friends, are worth it.